Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to each and every one of you. And welcome to our podcast, Below the Belt. I'm your host, Sherrod Duncan. And it's great to have each and every one of you joining our international podcast from around the world. A happy Saturday morning to you. I see Beatrice Selby already has joined us on YouTube, and I can see the comment there. Folks, if you don't comment, we won't give you a shout out because we wouldn't see the name. But it's good to see Beatrice Selby, one of the persons already on YouTube, tuned in and ready to go. Good to see all of the others who are joining us across social media, joining us on our Facebook page. If you guys are joining us on Facebook, follow our page there on Facebook. We know y'all fast. Follow me on Facebook. Guys, yesterday on my Facebook page, Sheridan Avery Duncan, we hit 90,000 followers. Thanks to each and every one of you on my Facebook page, the Sheridan Avery Duncan Facebook page. We hit 90,000 followers. It's not them by seeing and getting frightened, you know. They think it's only them that's got a lot of fans and followers and people listening to them. That's what they're seeing and getting frightened, Alexis Arthur. That's what they're seeing and getting frightened, Elizabeth Narine. It's you all who join us day after day on these programs from around the world. You know, they won't mind if it's 4 and 5 people in Georgetown listening to it. They see me as no threat. But it's the thousands of you who listen to us from all around the world. It's double giving them boys belly walk, you know. Sean Carter and Claudette Clark, St. Romain Thomas and Chlorine James, Joyce Prince. That's what giving them boys belly walk. Petal Thorne and Carlton Beverly. That was giving them boys trouble. Welcome below the belt. Who vex lose? Who vex? Folks, we got to brace for impact. That's the theme of our discussion today. Brace for impact. The looming disaster of PPP blackouts. Looming disaster. That's how Starbuck News characterized it yesterday. This announcement of impending blackouts given the PPP shutdown of the Garden of Eden power generation plant there. Looming disaster. That's how Starbuck News characterized it. PPP blackouts are back. We're going someplace under the last administration. And we're privileged to have with us today the man who was taking us there, the Right Honorable David Patterson, Member of Parliament. Him along with the David Granger administration. We're going someplace. Folks, admit it. Admit it. We were not where we are today. We're in a bad place today. We ain't got to lie to ourselves. We're in a bad place. We're supposed to be progressing, not going back. They're supposed to be promising us more power. That announcement yesterday should have been, we are bringing 50 megawatts more on the grid. Then by said taking off. That is where we are. We in a bad spot. And we go in there in a hurry. Is it 20 months in? This installed catfish, jagabat and trench crapo administration. Is it 20 months in? And look at where we are. Folks, whether you're UPNO AFC, whether you're PNC, WPA, TUF, this doesn't exist anymore. LB, Liberty and Justice, what's the other thing? I almost said Transparency International. Citizen Initiative, that's what I was thinking in my head. And all the other folks, TNM, TQP, LGBT, whatever it is out there. Folks, let us be fair. You could be fair. 2015 to 2020, blackouts were becoming a thing of the past. Blackouts were becoming a thing of the past. Now them guys telling us they're taking away 43.2 or something like that megawatts off the grid. All of because of their incompetence. And then I see them trying to distract from their incompetence, distract from their mismanagement. I see some of them all over the city, looking in bush, looking in trench. Is it jacobas they're looking for, you know? Is it trench crapos they're looking for? Searching between the weeds. Is it jacobas and the trench crapos that they're looking for? It's the companions. That's what they're looking for, you know, and trying to distract us sporily. Vibert White and Jane Ann McDonald. They're trying to distract us, Diane Yearwood. Is it jacobats and the trench crapos? They scatter around the city looking for. But that's not a sustainable enterprise. They ain't gonna go far and look. They ain't gonna go in the streets of the city and look. Right? Because we know the wicked stink and dirty. And the jacobats and trench crappers always wrong them. So don't worry them trying to distract them in some big high bush looking and so forth. Right? I see they got three ministers looking for trench crapper wrong by the magistrate court. Three of them trying to pull out one little piece of weed. One little piece of weed, three of them trying to pull out. Wrong by the high court, making themselves some clowns. It's jacobats and trench crappers them boys outside looking for. Andrew Cosbert, good to see you. Horace Thomas, good to see you. How are things where you guys are? How is the weather where you guys are? In the national capital city of Georgetown. It's raining. It's raining trench crappers and jacobats. Them boys outside looking for them. Folks, it's 35 degrees outside where we are, where we host our international podcast from the national capital city of Georgetown. It's 30 degrees outside according to weather.com. And they are telling us that there's a 59% chance it's going to rain this afternoon. A 59% chance, guys, it's going to rain. But as of now, we have good sunshine outside, and we're going to watch, guys, and we're going to monitor that. We're going to monitor that. 30 degrees outside. It's beautiful weather. It is beautiful weather. But the news of the hour, I think there is nothing else we can touch about. We touched on the toddler that is among 6 new COVID deaths. And this is the youngster from Mabaruma who would have lost his life, and the parents bore the brunt of that grief 3 and 4 times over, having to walk from the mortuary to the burial ground. Hot day sun. We don't have the basic amenities. Every sector is decadence and decay. And here is the installed rubber stamp Prime Minister telling us his big announcement as 2022 dawns on us. You're setting your New Year's resolution. You now got to recalibrate to include blackouts. You have to recalibrate now to include blackouts. That's what these guys are telling us. Folks, it's my privilege as we examine all of these issues to have with me this morning a man who really and truly took this country forward where infrastructure is concerned. We got to fool ourselves, you know. David Patterson worked along with the other ministers of the coalition government, and the evidence is all about us. We see one LG scattering every day to compete. They think it's competition. No, just go there and be professional and work. They come and they tell us, oh, Mandela Avenue going to finish by year end. Because David didn't know what he's doing and he's taking long and so on. Now they come back to tell us last year, they told us it's February of this year it can complete. After saying it's going to be complete by year end. And now they're telling us it's going to be pushed down a little more. Oh, the airport, he didn't know what he's doing there. Pop, 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 pop. Now it's a different story. It's a different song. These sirens singing about the airport project. They think they could do it better. And largely in infrastructure, this man was a wizard. This man had supernatural abilities. And then when it comes to blackout, our central theme today, as we brace for impact, looming disaster of PPP blackouts, these were becoming a thing of the past. And you know, as part of the doing business index, power generation is important in our international standing on that business index there. Now, instead of an announcement that says we're putting more power on the grid so that Guyanese people can live, you know, like people in the rest of the world live, where power is just a given. Where power is just a given. We have the resources, but do we have the competence in this installed regime? No. That being said, folks, it's my privilege to have with us today the one and only, the man himself, David Patterson. Sir, welcome to our podcast, Below the Belt.
Hi, Sharon. Welcome. Thank you very much for having me. And hello to all your viewers.
Great having you, David, because you understand these issues as an engineer working with the competent people during the tenure of the APNU AFC administration. You worked and progressed in this area. Since you're no stranger, you are not any armchair philosopher, any Facebook activist just, you know, finding an issue to talk about. You understand and you made progress in this area, putting a good team in place at GPL at the power generation company that worked along with the administration and all of that, and we were heading someplace. David, put in context. First, this announcement by this installed regime last evening about the Garden of Eden plan, and then we will move from there.
Announcement to put it in a capsule, in a nutshell. The little boys that don't know what they're doing. All they like to do is just sit down and blame people. They sit down and they make statements in the public and those things like that. But they don't know, have not a clue what they're doing. They brought back in 2015. Folks, I started in 2015. They fired. Reporting in 2014, we fired the CEO, Dindial.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The board in that time was headed by none other than Wilson Basington. We wrote the report to the then Prime Minister, by saying that the man is incompetent. He will break, he will destroy the entire GPL's infrastructure. And under his watch, he started on 55 US dollars worth of equipment were destroyed. When we came in, he had no contract. He was on a month-to-month contract. And of course, if the PPP who hired him didn't feel he was good enough, definitely he wasn't good enough to work with us. So we let him go. No hard. Go on, enjoy. So you're such a great engineer, go without endorsement and work somewhere. As soon as they came back in, they brought him back. They fired, and then what we did internationally, we hired Ernest Young, the international function firm and recruiting firm, and we advertised international in all the international CARICOM papers and overseas for a new CEO. And after about several rounds of interview, we hired a fellow Albert Gordon from Jamaica. Highly qualified, and he came and with his help and the government's help and from the government and the ministry, we were able to tackle blackouts in the country. What did they do when they get back in? When they were installed in all seconds? Fire Mr. Gordon. Jamaican, nothing to do with it. He applied to the international ad.
Professional.
Fire. Professional man. Bring back the man by Dindial who they was already on record, not us saying that this is Basington and PP saying destroyed $55 million worth of equipment, and they brought him back. And they made a lot of statements about how GPL they're coming here to end blackouts and those things like that. By the time they came back, we had every single thing in train. We had a maintenance program for all the engines, all the transmission and distribution lines. They came back, and of course, because AP and UAFC government, the coalition government doing it, they stopped everything. But back, then the other thing we have now. Little boys playing with matches. And then they come and tell you all sorts of excuses for safety's sake. Boss, you know how we are, Chad, you know how we are, you don't read the Lego said again, Lego said Christmas. If you don't read the instructions, you must fix it up wrong. And that's exactly what happened. They don't even read the instructions. I didn't even know to read. There's a little bit, there's an artist.
That is where we are, unfortunately. Yeah. So they brought back, they brought back Dindial, Barrett Dindial, the same man that put us in the problems with blackouts of the past. But they expect different results for some reason. They expect different results this time. And here's where we are. And I remember us in the National Assembly warning them, David, you and others, warning them in the National Assembly that incompetence begets incompetence. And here we are.
Exactly.
They promised one thing, and now it seems as though 2022 is double. It's double poverty. Is double starvation. It's double prices. And now it's double blackouts. Because that's what they're saying. It could take days, weeks, or months to fix that problem there. And so you had assembled a competent team overlooking this thing. David, if people want to be honest, they can admit blackouts were becoming a thing of the past. Weeks could go by and you didn't have an hour blackout. And even if you
Exactly.
had power outage, it wasn't
Exactly.
very long. Things were looking up.
Exactly.
I remember a big project you all were working on when these Jagabats came in. It was the place just off Linden there. You had bought some generators
Yeah.
there. What's the name of that place?
Yes.
In Region 10.
Well, yeah, listen to me. We were working
Kukwani. That's the name of the place. And
generation.
systematically, you were doing similar
Systematically,
projects.
we bought new generator sets for Barbies. Imagine their consistency. They always claim Barbies with PPP. They never had a new generator set in Barbies since the 1970s. We went in, even though Tony never voted for us, we went in and we put in a new generating set in Barbies. There was never a new generating set in Region 2. We put 2 new generating sets in Region 2, Essequibo and Regina, Cribble Coast. We put new generating sets in Bartica. You know what I mean? We put new generating sets in even in Georgetown, in Linden.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And none of these places here, so none of the places I call those to save except Linden. And maybe Bartica will be supporting the coalition, but we did it because everybody deserves to have constant stable electricity. But let me also tell you what else we did and why we back where we are.
Talk to us.
And when I came in, there was a company called Warstiller who makes the generators, and they make very good generators.
But I was coming here.
And yes,
great idea.
But what the previous government did was entered into a contract with Warstiller, right? And they said, you manufacture these generators, we let you maintain it. When we came in, we found that they were overbilling us. We found that overbilling us, the service was substandard. And when I visited the Warstiller, it was 111 all done. So they were billing us at rates for OX, and the entire operation was done by Guyanese, highly qualified guys. So I said, hold on a second, local content. That's the same thing we're talking about. We said, we took the contract back from Warstiller, and we said, company called PPP, which is the one we're referring to. That company has now, at the time when we left, they had 146 employees. They give out scholarships, they did training, they had money to 4 Guyanese, right? And they were saving GPL, but GPL is cash trap, $2.5 million a year. $2.5 million a year. As soon as they came in, they fired the entire management of the senior management of PPDI. Fired everybody, all the guys that had 20 years experience. All the guys that were really, really good. The guy with T-Nuts was working diligently to ensure there was no blackout of Friday. And they, of course, persons like Bobby Ramru, company secretary. What does he know about power generation? He's on the board. They put him on the board, knows nothing at all. He makes print newspapers. And of course now, but that doesn't finish. They brought back in Warstiller.
Wow.
Because of course they're very competent. These guys, and these are the guys who are taken back over, knocked out all the Guyanese, the 147 Guyanese that were working and saving money and were doing a brilliant job. Now they're bring back in the water company. And the boys are back again. And that's what's happening right now.
Them boys come back?
Incompetent. Competence.
David, I see them quoting that there is the power generation loss here by taking Garden of Eden power generation system offline is about, I think, let's say 44 megawatts. What does that mean for Guyanese?
Right. So let me tell Guyanese. Our peak demand, which means at night when everyone that has electricity are using are about 125 megawatts in total. Right? So therefore, for you to ensure that all these persons, everybody who wants electricity tonight can get it, you have to be generating over, in total, 125
Wow.
megawatt. So
Mhm.
when you take 44 megawatts of electricity out of the and that produces about like 135, so they only have a little extra. Take up 44 megawatts out of the system. That means that from now, shortage, they can't just wanting electricity can't be supplied with electricity. So they now have to do what they is calling it all day load shedding. They have to decide, they can decide here. So when you're in the ring, we're
Mhm.
up
Mhm.
8 o'clock, look at it, Jared, every 8 o'clock, and say, oh, we're doing load shedding in your area. Blackout.
Blackout in the state.
So,
Blackout in the East Coast.
yes, I wonder what's going to happen, Rise and block you out now. And so does power generate immediate reply. Supply and demand don't have enough immediate demand. So what you do, right now you have about like what? You have your requirement. They're going to put you in blackouts and they can say, okay, well, we only give you 8 hours and give somebody else 8 hours. So people must to the areas where they're going to give these 8-hour blackouts. And then you draw them on a map. Next to the vote button for the AP and UFC and the PPP, you will see what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they block out the area we have because they can say you don't like them and they keep their areas well. So that their people can complain less. But this thing is, unfortunately, what they don't know is the Chinese supported AP and UFC everywhere. So we can know. We will know.
David, in a larger context, with again how we ranked on the international stage in terms of doing business, businesses being able to have reliable power, and just as a developmental part of a developmental index, the supply of power. I mean, David, this is 2022 for crying out loud. 2022, and we got to be fighting with blackouts, right? It does not
Yes,
bode
absolutely,
well
Jared.
for governance under the PPP.
Yeah, of course. Listen to me. First and foremost, they would like to get people how lovely this country is, they're carrying this country and all these great um, and ideas and aspirations. Right now, doing in Guyana, we words, right? We went up into Guyana and all these fans. When you call you on the TV, saying, "Oh my gosh!" and
David, you're breaking up a little bit.
it's on a
Maybe
trajectory to
you
take
want
off.
you want to come
Yes,
closer to the mic.
yes, and he's on the trajectory to take off, and countries on a trajectory to take off and those things. And he comes to Guyana and get blocked out. That's the impression. Court immediately the investors start of you, like what the PPP thinks wants us to see. People say this is a backwater country with a backwater full, and then they go ministers and it comes to them that's how they're dealing with some numbnuts. So you know what I mean. So it's the whole image that they break down. You know what I mean. You go and you meet Bishop Edgel, and right there and then you figure out, oh my Lord, if he is the man in charge, what this country has no vision. Yeah. So that is what they esteem in the country. And then, of course, now, Cheryl, runnings come back.
Yep.
Every single day is running.
Yep.
Running, everything, runnings come back. So the investor comes in, comes to his hotel room in blackout, comes down and says, all right, let me go, and he walks outside and running. He goes to GPI to go and try and get an application, running, get past a rate. He goes to the market, also share run-ins, and then of course someone of the ministers, somebody got paid somebody to produce him to the minister to do their job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Their run-ins, nothing at all is working.
Run-ins
and
indeed.
Then of course, the poor man said, well, listen to me. I can't do anything. I can't leave because of blackout. I can't go and do something. And he says he's going to bother, choke and rob,
Yeah.
crime.
Yep.
And that is a vision that that is the impression that people are getting of Guyana. Of course, the government would like you to think that it's a different impression, but just from their behavior, how they operate, you know what I mean? I'm glad that the young man are in Boston, people that they're charging, but nobody is. You see what it is, you know what I mean? Yeah, at the set of the outset of certain things all for them. They're charging the cop SWAT team for killing Mr. Boston over in Essequibo. Nobody says the word is who's standing there, under who instructions that he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, man can take the fall for them. But some big one, Ministry of Home Affairs, the officers, the big one in the police force, send them to go and harass and assassinate the young Mr. Boston. But of course, and people, you know, people are saying that to listen to me. If I come to the I'm in darkness, I can't share bribery.
Yep.
And then the police could come, kick down my door, and then so the whole climate is thriving. Our administration shall remember throughout the day such things that stop piracy. We eradicated piracy out rampant in 2015. We eradicated the police to come and arrest without warrant all the little boys and girls on the street. You know what I mean? You had to show cause. I mean, bribery because we allow them to. We did not allow them to do it. Do not go unpunished. To address every single area that makes Guyana look and be a first world country. Our index, perception index, rose for the first time in like 10 years between 2015 and 2020. Right now it's on a free fall without a parachute.
Yep. You know, there's a song by a Trinidadian, Calypso Rio, that characterizes where we are now. That characterizes where we are. And I know, David, you are into this kind of music. You have a love for culture largely across the board. I want to play a bit of it for our listeners and see if it rings any bell. You know, this song here was made popular in 2011. I think that is when we had a majority in parliament for the first time in a long time, and we made them a minority government. And these guys are taking us right back here. You know, we said it countless times on these programs. They seem to have to have this penchant for pre-2015. That's where they want to carry us. Take a listen to this, folks, and we come back on the other side. This is where they want to carry us.
I went to public utilities and tell them disconnect them facilities, but me want them. I tried to contact the ombudsman, but never in office. I'm going to file me an injunction on the public service. Cause every time a heavy rain fall, I me don't have no current at all. They spoil my TV, they spoil my fridge, they nearly kill me with low voltage. Now before they make me a lunatic, I'm going back to basic. I'm going and get a flambeau and lamp with wick. I'm going back to basic. I call my fans and I call my friends to let them know.
David, that's what them boys want to carry we back to basics. Back to basics.
Lovely, lovely song. Then the man said, when the rain fall, the place up. When the blackout, he can't do nothing. But that's what, right? And it's absolutely right. They carry us right back where we are. But that's what they know. They don't know anything. You know what I mean? You can't put a butcher in a hospital. He only knows to butcher and to slaughter pigs and cows and those things like that. So that's exactly what we have in this government. Butcher, putting on trying to brain surgery. So I'm gonna I don't 20 months on, they're blaming us. It's plain for everyone to see how incompetent they are.
Yep.
So you know what? You know what they do to distract the nation for the round up their political opponents.
Yep.
You and I know that real.
Yep.
But they round up their political opponents because and I say it, Jagabat and French. The thing is a word called Jagabat is a word called French Capo, which everybody in China Capo is something we know all the time. You just got this word. And for you foreigners, a Capo is a frog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A French frog. There's water frogs, land frogs, frogs, all sorts of frogs. But we in Ghana call them Crapo. But you say what? They round up their opponents, they tell them, they charge them, and so forth. They're trying to hide their incompetence. The young people to expose it. So what they do, all of their critics, but not that one. That's when they become critics. The logical critics, right? Yes, so they're not a critics. They're trying to stop speaking, but you can't stop people like even if you don't speak Sheriff, another aspect of their place.
Yep.
Somebody else will come and highlight to them how they're operating.
As somebody's saying here, the ship sinking. And David, this is only one sector we've been talking about, and not even the whole sector. It's only one aspect of the governance. I saw somebody on social media said recently that David Granger, your namesake, was a prophet because Granger told us, get into planting, invest in planting. You're going to make it. He saw them coming far, He saw them coming from far. He said, invest in planting. You're going to make it in this country. Planting, David. Oh,
that's right.
Planting. We were making the analogy in our program because somebody sent us information. In Canada, planting imported from Costa Rica is 99 cents, which equates to 158 Guyana dollars. Planting coming from right up the road from where you live in is 360 on the market. Where we going, David? Whoever invested in planting making big money now, billions of dollars in this country. Planting is a new green gold.
Well,
David.
Planting, my brother. And let me tell you that anybody who can find planting paying more than nobody. This is again old. Quite long ago, a phone call. That's what we're doing now. We're squatting and peeping at the vendors who soon we have 30 planting running and go for it. And they can turn and tell us. And this is where they're trying to sell to you. It's become global shipping concern. Mm-hmm. We get planting from Legon, from up with the back of Hubu village up in that country. But the minister in the office of the president with the responsibility for finance will get up and tell the people because there is a increased cost in global very low from the backyard that you have gone up. And of these big words, and so the poor man is confused, but he knows what's going on. He knows that yesterday he used to walk down a picky man planting. Now they're talking about us the shipping index and those things. Incompetence.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing and what they're doing is when they're gonna raid all the money in the natural resources funds and put plasters. They will stand before put plasters these cuts. And of course only the plaster will fester and get infected and get worse. To build a country like Guyana from where we are at, we start with systematically planning, making good governance, good laws. Can't be friends and families with any contract, Come on. You have a company that they were best known for, and they did a really good job at it. Hits and jams, Jam Zone. These are big things, Jam Zone. People used to do every August, Jam Zone. Come the new government comes in, what is Jam Zone now become contractor. $2 million shared, contractable school. When that when that school, and here the irony of it. Here is where they give Jam Zone, statement 8 is the name of it, for the principles behind it at Jam Zone. Here's where they give them to build the school. Bamia, which is Region 10.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't going to John. They ain't going to give them fire rate.
Mm-hmm.
Going to give them one of their constituent areas. They mounted, they never build anything to go and build a school in Region 10. Now, if that school collapses, who's it affecting? Not their constituency, but the constituency is the AP and USC. I want you to listen to what they're doing, because if you want to experiment, if you want to take your hard-earned money, sure, you want to give a man that never built a house to build your house, that's okay. Do it on your land. And you go and you want to experiment with statement 8, let them go to Babu John and build a school for people in Babu John. If people in Babu John want to accept substantive work from statement 8 in the government, but they're doing it in Region 10 for a reason.
Yep. There's a ministry official, there's a government official, high government official building a massive house in Region 3. People say coveting a whole set of land there. He ain't hiring them to build his house. Statement and building his house, but they can build a school, right, with government money. That's where we are. So plantain price gone up, bread price gone up, and you name it. People in the marketplace know things gone up. Yesterday we had Ronald Cox in our program, David, and we were talking about COVID and the prevalence and pervasiveness, the ubiquity of COVID-19 locally, how it has run away from this administration and wreaking havoc. Talking about that father who had to bury his 1-year-old in Mabaruma there, waiting for the authorities to provide transportation, none forthcoming. He had to fetch that box with his child's remains to the burial ground. But something that Ronald told us was mind-boggling. He said he has learned that in Mabaruma there, where they store the vaccines for COVID, that place had blackout for a long time over the last weekend there. And he's questioning the, what do you call it? The efficacy.
Yes.
The effectiveness of the vaccines. Of those vaccines. Yep. This is the implications. This is the implications of this looming disaster of PPP blackouts. Brace for impact. That's what Irfan told us last year, brace yourselves, the new year coming, right? They knew what they were going to do, they know what is on the horizon based on their incompetence and mismanagement. So the vaccine efficacy, effectiveness is now being brought into question. David?
Listen to me. And it's bigger than that. So they have the up in Mabaruma, so they don't have the poor father. My condolences go to him and his family. No father should have to bury a child. No father, no man, no woman to have to bury his child. And to have to bury them in that sort of manner, it must be devastating and heartbreaking. But what has more serious implications because the Minister of Education is threatening kids who don't go to work because they are worried and concerned that the spread of COVID in their schools to the students. And of course, when the students will get it, and of course the students, their immunity system may be good enough to fight it off, but they go home and transmit it to their vulnerable parents, students, and vulnerability. So you're in Mabaruma, you got vaccines that that stored incorrectly, but you're forcing people in, and there's a surge and a spread, and you're forcing the public servants. You don't do nothing different. You haven't made any different policy. You have a COVID guidelines that you flaunt. Kashif and Shanghai is there, spread attended by no less than the Prime Minister.
Yep.
Ejil, Ramson, and other governments, they had placed people in a place that has, because the COVID regulation, not supposed to have more than 400. So they do nothing, they flaunt the laws, and then, of course, they penalize the teachers, the nurses. What you're doing is dangerous. The Prime Minister, who's the head of the COVID task force, sat among a super spreader. Let me you try that. Let me you try and sit people in a room. 6. They will come and lock us up and throw in the book. But he started with 4,000 people, and he says, oh, he was disappointed with the organizers. You're the Prime Minister, disappointed with the organizers. Get up and down and say, clear this, stop this game, walk out. And say, GPL, do your best. Block. He's good at that, they're good at that. They're not nothing he's this one, and they're sharing out the prizes. Meanwhile, in places like Cameroon and the rest of the world, our working folks are being penalized. If you don't turn up to work because it's COVID outbreak in school, they deduct and pay from you. And it is hard, isn't for it? People can't lose a single day pay. So Sherrod, we're in a really, really bad place.
We're in a bad way. We're in a bad way, and we're getting worse. It's getting worse. As we said, we've just picked out a couple of things, in which demonstrates in the health sector, the power generation sector, the economic sector. You name it. You name it. The justice sector. You name it. And there's decadence and decay. We ain't going looking for stuff, You can just open Stabrook News and Independent Daily. We ain't going to Kaito News. Go to Stabrook News. Just open it. And front page, the stuff hits you. Right? GPL, or in Boston. Right? COVID-19, total among 6 dead. Yesterday. You just name it. Right? Aubrey Norton there talking about the price ceiling. High prices. It's not just us. When you listen to other persons, independent bodies, independent groups, Article 13 group, Transparency International, it tells you we're in 20, 22 months where these guys have taken this country backward, as David said, is run-ins. That's what they characterize by run-ins.
Run-ins, the Lord, Cheryl, you know that to get anything done now, it's run-ins. You can't, just as in the guy, you can't walk to any government department now, pre-2015, and get anything done. Let me give you an example, Sherrod. Perfect example in which any Guyanese would know. In and out of Guyana, the passport office. We were able, under Winston Field, if you were able to walk in the passport office at any time of the day, and within 15 minutes, you were out. And this is not me making up. I'm sure people on your podcast will review their passport between 2015 and 2020. When we took over this big cow pen out, people lining up from all around 4 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning, all on it. You were able to walk in at any single time. The last time I renewed my passport, I was in at 3:45, just before they closed. I was out at 4. No connection, anything else, walking on my own. And there's no queue, there's no line. No. Again, for some strange reason, they could only issue 100 passports. Under it's limitless. There's no limit on the amount of passports that they and that is like now. Anybody listening to this knows that this too. People are scared to talk about these things because of the victimization and the discrimination that comes on them. But that's a living example. You go and try and report thing and tell you, no. Only 100 people will get taken. 100 people before is booked up from the day before. But that's the stark and real example of the difference. You can't manage a single thing.
Yep. And you know what, David? With these things said, we have to commit ourselves to the task at hand, commit and steel ourselves, resolve ourselves to the task at hand. We have to stand and we have to challenge not only these guys, but the situations that beset us, which resolve that things have to get better. And we have to be the change we want to see in the world. As we've discussed these issues, David, today would have been the 93rd birthday, if my days are correct, of Martin Luther King Jr., who changed this world in such
Correct.
fundamental and phenomenal ways by simply refusing the status quo that was this U.S. civil rights activist, by simply resolving that I ain't taking more. I will not go to the back of the bus. I will not dress down. I will not accept racial segregation. I will not accept the Jim Crow system. And I want to reflect on his life, David, because it is so inspiring. He talked about, I want to quote one of his lines. He says, I have decided to stick with love because hate is too great a burden to bear. You know, and in this country, we need this. We love all our Guyanese. We have disagreements with how this country is managed. We have disagreements with the future of this country and where these people want to take it. As we reflect on the life and times of Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., today, had he lived, would have been his 93rd birthday. Your thoughts, David, as we look to program time?
No, I'm telling you, I mean, Martin, Nelson, who they were all inspirations to me. Not only because they fought for equality, but the manner in which they did it. Their opponent system, work within the system, and they eventually slowly got changed. It's exactly we are fighting here, you know, in Shelburne. We are asking that every Guyanese be treated equally. Every Guyanese be able to live to fulfill whatever dream and aspirations he or she has, irrespective of race, creed, color, sexual orientation, etc. That is, and we're asking that if I disagree with you politically or not, that I should not be discriminated, called to CID, locked up, charged, paraded. The court. I mean, yes, that is all. That's what we're fighting for here in Guyana at the moment. And of course, we have and unfortunately, every Guyanese must have a share in our natural patrimony. I mean, oil is not PPP oil. Oil is for the whole country. But and there's a vast difference between the haves and the have-nots. You know what I mean? You can see every day they're there and they're walking when people hold an umbrella, and every day they have their favorite so they're flaunting their wealth, you know what I mean? Never work a hard day in the world, flaunting their wealth in the ordinary Guyanese days. Then turning to the Guyanese public and say, yes, look how well I'm doing. But this country is lovely and great. You know what I mean? You see them all, the guys that you talk about neutral and that were supportive. You see them now, they jump ship, they're in the ship, PPP ship, and they're rewarded for the ship jumping. But as one said, that ship is sinking. Better must come.
Better
And it will come.
Better must come indeed. Better must come indeed. This is the life and times in which we live. And, you know, we can, as David says, there's so much in the life of Martin Luther King we can look to for inspiration. You know, Martin Luther King lived in a time, David, as you know all too well, when people call him nigger, the N-word. You go in places and you see blacks aren't welcome, right? And he had to forge a way through all of that with resolve that he can change the system. And you got people who worried about being called Jagabat and Trench Crapo. Oh my God. What a world we have become, right? What a world we have become. I saw Steve Harvey just over the last week talked about similar events. He said he is not doing stand-up comedy any longer. He said because people are so sensitive. Every word offends somebody. I don't know if it's the effect of COVID-19 turning in with skin or something. But he said every word affects somebody, and then people pull out from some contract they had with you. They put out some disclaimer. They don't know you, and some, you know, the affiliation is pulled from you because everybody's sensitive. These men, Martin Luther King, had to go through tear gas and bullet and water hoses and dogs being loosed on them, lynching and all of that. And we worried about, our biggest worry in 2022, as we move forward into the 21st century, is being called Jagabat and Trench Crapo. That's the biggest worry. That's the biggest fear as an administration. You could hold a whole administration at hostage because you call them Jagabat and Trench Crapo. They offended. What a world.
I don't know where they grew up, but I'm from. And they allowed all the people in Lodge, Lodge on. Actually, if you called me a Trench Crapo when you was growing up, it wouldn't have been so bad, because we've been called with the names and the nicknames we have the people in Lodge that stuck with them are far worse. And up to now, those people are saying because there's a Guyanese thing. I don't know, but I know Guyanese. And they will stump your toe. You walk in, you go into school, and you stump your toe, your name Stumpy from there on. So seriously, your father mind goats, your name goat. For the rest,
yep.
You know what I mean? So it's not a thing. You know what I mean? I have, his name is Cockabelly. He used to catch Cockabelly in the thing, and up to like I'm even hard pressed to even remember what his name is. But I can go anywhere and lodge out the scheme. So we're Cockabelly, and everybody know. You know what I mean? And these are it's a guy. It's telling like maybe climate change or something. Sure that you get into. You know, I mean, the sun getting too hot and thinning the pigments in our skin because growing up. And there's worse names, beetle shit. People call beetle shit or all those things like that. I hope it's not open to me your arm. I want names, Brock Iron, the name I've read me. And those are up with, and they live with, they own it because you can't change it. And everybody knows it, but it wasn't meant to bring you down. So it's just a guy. We love to tantalize. You go any rum shop, you hear from the best story. It's a uniqueness. And of course, the worst we are, like how we are here now, the state we are now, our only relief is humor. You had a bad day, man, you laugh and talk with your friends. You go home, and you look at your wife instead of, and she asks you what you bring home. And said, girl, you only could bring one planting. Only one plant you could afford. You know, you got to make she have to make a joke and stuff, but they just one planting and feed it to you. And make a lot because of that you run mad on this.
Yep.
The pressure is on.
Yep. David, I want to thank you for being my guest today for these close to an hour of discussion on this very important issue of the bracing yourself for impact. That's what we got to do in this country. Brace for impact, economic impact, blackout impact, health impact. Brace for impact. They say Starbucks News characterized it as a looming disaster.
Exactly. It is a looming disaster.
A looming disaster.
We deserve that.
Right? We get bad news with the 7%. Oh, we were hoping, I was eager to get out of 2021, but how 2022 started, my God. I wish it was December already. Somebody put up a status on WhatsApp the other day that I commented on. Person said they're tired, they're fatigued, they're weary, and the year just started. And it was about the 10th of the month. Right? And
there's nothing to look forward to.
You're right, David. Nothing to look forward to. It's just bad news every day from these guys. Every day from these guys. Bad news. Right? You would think something like this, Catfish would take the lead on. Right? When it comes to coming to cuss out public servants about why they ain't grateful for 7%. Oh, you can come then and have a whole press conference for an hour talking about the nonsense. But in important issues like this, no, they sidetrack. You see all them scattered around the city, looking through all kind of big bush and so on for trench crappos and jagabats. That's what the taxpayers want to do.
Well, but Sharon, as you're doing a public service here in this podcast, you should be able to tell them, and like I will tell you to tell them, they don't have to go there to look for trench coat posing. So look in the mirror. Just put them a little mirror, let them people in it, they can find it right there.
Don't go
You
looking
don't
through
have
all
to
them
look
bush and trench and so. You can see it right in the mirror.
right in the mirror. Pocket mirror, you know, the little thing that you use for the makeup. And I'm just keeping it. Hey, you trench coat for you.
Hey, you Jagabat.
Hey,
You know,
you Jagabat.
David, let us end on Starbucks News. What do you call it? The caricature in today's paper. Let me see if I capture it rightly. I don't want to misquote anybody these days. Characterize their caricature in today's paper. They're talking about, yes, the politics caricature, and there are two donkeys talking. One said to the other, "Would you be offended if someone nicknamed you as trench crapper?" Two donkeys talking. The other one responds, "You take me for an ass?" That's the caricature. This is the society we live in.
Yeah, that's a good one.
David,
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, of course, but people are distressed and humiliated, and I don't know. So I think the child, maybe just so we go and let me give a hail out to all the French peppers and Jagabats and apologize to them on your behalf if we have humiliated you or distressed them. Tough luck.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much for being part of the program today, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Our senior member of parliament, David Patterson, former Minister of Infrastructure. Thank you, sir. And General Secretary of the Alliance for Change. Thanks, David.
All right, thanks, Jared. Bye.
Folks, that's our program today. That's my program. Well, I can tell you. That's our program. Good to see so many of you on the line today. Could not do this program without you. The carry back to basics, people. It's basics to carry back to.
Never in office.
Basics they take me back to. The PPP. Their promises are worthless. They ain't worth the paper they print on. Basics we're going back to. That's what we're doing. Margaret Nelson, how are you doing out there? Ricardo Rodriguez. Tracy Mullen, how are you guys doing out there? The one kill we know is low voltage. It's true. The man a lie.
Now before them make me a lunatic.
He ain't lie. Is there we going back to basics. Guys, thanks for joining the podcast today. I want to share our quote for today with you. Back to basics we go in. I want to give you a heads up that Monday is Martin Luther King's Day. It's a day of service to one's community. And we're going to be reflecting on the life of Martin Luther King over the weekend and on Monday as well. Our quote for today, however, is from Niccolo Machiavelli. It says, "So long as the great majority of men are not deprived of either property or honor, they are satisfied." We can't be like that, Niccolo Machiavelli says that. So long as the great majority of men are not deprived of either property or honor, they're satisfied. We got to be concerned about each other in this country. We got to be concerned that what affects one negatively affects all of us. We got to be concerned. If a woman's house falls and kills her and her daughter, that affects all of us. A man can't give his 1-year-old a proper fitting send-off. COVID-19, thanks to the PPP, haven't claimed his life. That affects all of us in this country. Or in Boston is killed in Essequibo. Unlawfully shot in his own home. Unlawfully. That affects all of us. Machiavelli talking about human nature here. He says, so long as the great majority of men are not deprived of either property or honor, they're satisfied. Some of us walking around as though nothing is wrong in this country. But we, the masses, we know because we feel it every day. We feel it in our pocket every day. We feel it when we engage the healthcare system. We feel it when we engage the economy. Plenty things in regular, as Laurie Alexander used to say, God rest his soul. Here is Machiavelli saying, so long as the great majority are not deprived of either property or honor, they're satisfied. That's our quote for today. That's today's quote, folks. I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of the life today, being part of our international podcast, Below the Belt. Folks, share the live stream, why don't you, before you go? Share the program, share our podcast, share the link. And we want to see those emojis as well. It's basics them by carry back to. Right? They got a property. They're not deprived of that. So they ain't worried about the rest of we. They got the honor, quote unquote honor. And they're satisfied. They ain't worried about the rest of it. But we got to be worried about each other. We got to be worried about the future of this country, the direction of this country. Forward never. Backward never. We ain't going back to basics, and we're not going to allow them to carry back to basics. We are not going to allow them to take us back to basics, folks. But we got to brace for impact. It's going to be a rough year with these guys at the helm. We got to brace for impact, economic impact, blackouts, health outs, economic outs. Brace, Guyanese, for impacts. We in this together. We in this together. Thanks for joining our international podcast. Guys, remember, COVID-19 is real. Social distance, wear your mask, sanitize. Practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. Stay safe until we meet again tomorrow, guys, right here, same time, same place, on our international podcast, Below the Belt. Thanks for joining us.
Until they invent a car to jump, I go travel. I beg the Lord to please put a hand, touch the hearts of this parts man. I used to have a raise in the bank. Now every cent gone in me gas tank. Now I prefer roller with piece of sticker. I'm going back to basics. Or buy a 3-speed bike, go in tick, tick, tick. I'm going back to basics.